Right, welcome to the Operator SDK grooming meeting. This meeting will be recorded, so don't say anything you want to be on the internet forever. Let me share my screen, we'll get started. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
Great. Okay, nobody's added anything to the agenda, so there's nothing that anybody would like to prioritize. We can go through the backlog in a minute, but let's run through what we have in the 1.2 milestone right now. Oh, also, I don't think we closed out the 1.1 last time, so if that's still open, then let's do that. Okay, I think we did. Great. Okay. Move our changes to the KubeBuilder generated makefiles. So that has to do with our patch fixes to the Go makefile that installs mtest binaries because that's being dealt with upstream. We wanted to get this in these makefile changes before the 1.1 release, which we did, I think. So now we have to remove them once upstream adds them to the KubeBuilder or to the KubeBuilder plugin. So that should stay in here. I think, oh yeah, we added blocks to this during issue triage on Monday because it's blocked on an upstream PR, which is mentioned in this issue. So that's fine. We can leave this in here. And that's assigned to Jonathan, so he'll take care of that. Scaffolded operators should depend on the latest community KubeBuilder community Kubernetes collection. Okay, so this is a dependency for Ansible that needs to be upgraded to latest. We should assign this to somebody since it's in the 1.2 milestone. Do we have any volunteers to take this on?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Austin, was that you?
Yep.
Great. Status descriptor test fails for OLM example with scorecard. Right, so this is an actual plug in scorecard. And this particular issue contains all the information that you need to fix this. It's literally just removing this bit. Does anybody want to take this one on?
Yeah, it's actually waiting on Travis to get merged. You already have a PR for that, so you can assign this to me.
Cool. Error reading configuration project, no such file directory.
I can do that one if it's not. Is it already assigned?
Yeah, Emil's already working on this.
Okay, because there's a Bugzilla downstream related to that.
So that's actually a different problem. That one has to do with there's a directory named project that is conflicting.
Yes.
So this is different than that.
Okay.
Have we a pull request for the edit?
For this, no.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
End-to-end tests won't run locally. I think you fixed this actually, Joe. He's on here.
I think so.
Yeah, that should be fixed now.
Okay.
It'd be good if someone could test it out.
You think this?
The only one that's not fixed is the Ansible EDE molecule test, which still requires some extra local setup that you don't necessarily have.
I can test this out because
Yeah.
I've run them.
The molecular
All right, you
application.
said it should be fixed except for all but the what?
The Ansible EDE molecule test. So if you look at how the makefile set up now, we basically will stand up a kind cluster regardless of your environment. Like we don't give you a choice anymore. So there's always going to be a kind cluster that gets set up for everything. The only problem is the EDE molecule test expects you to be able to run some Ansible operator things locally. And the Ansible operator has a bunch of extra local like pip dependencies and stuff that you might have, but the test setup doesn't like make you have them. So that test can still fail locally.
But the molecule test is not using that stack. It's like a shell script that you call when you do these steps. We have two tasks to do fix in the molecular test. After that, maybe we could have a specific task to try, like install the pre-requirements, something like that.
I think we want to try to make our EDE test like hermetic, such that either we set up all of our prerequisites or we maybe run them in a Docker image or something like that. But like I don't think we should. I think we need to get the molecule test working such that anyone can run it on their local system without having to install Python or pip or any of the pip dependencies.
Sure.
Did we have an issue that was like make test run all of the tests or something like that?
I don't know if we had an issue for that, but that's now it's in the makefile now. There's a test-all that'll run everything. Take a look at the new makefile in master. It's quite a bit different than what it was last week, but it should. I think we overall decreased the complexity and also like made it such that just about everything can run locally without you having to do any other pre-setup.
Cool.
Joe, would you mind filing an issue with your maybe proposed solution there? Because it would be pretty invasive if we do some pip installs.
Well, no, I think you meant like launch a Docker image to be the Ansible local.
Right.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
We don't.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure that that's captured in an issue, so that we
Okay.
end up doing it the bad way.
I agree with Elson, and I think it could be another issue, because it's something more specific, and we need to do some changes in the molecular tests first, which will be helpful.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this and we'll open this new one specifically for Ansible molecule. How about that?
Plus one.
Sounds good.
Great. Helm operator does not provide obvious way to execute Helm test. Okay.
I think we can probably close this.
I think it's two documents. Just
Well,
that it's
the
possible
question was
to use
the question was basically, how do I run Helm test? And the answer was run Helm test.
That's so satisfying.
So I mean, I guess if we want to document that, like once the Helm operator has done its thing and installed the release, it's as if you did it yourself locally. And therefore, like all of the other Helm related commands just work, so you can run Helm test. That's all this was. So I would probably close this and not document it. And if we get someone else that starts to ask about it as well, then it's clear that this is more of a widespread question that requires documentation. But given that this is, Helm Operator has been a thing for 2 years, and this is the first time someone's asked about Helm test, I get the feeling that this is not something that needs to be in the documentation.
I agree.
That's my 2
I
cents.
think I never saw other person asking that. So.
Errors on bundle validate when specifying non-default service count and controller manager deployment. Right. Ish, has there been any progress on this?
I've been having issues trying to like replicate this guy's error. So I actually needed to ask, probably before this meeting, I should have asked what the plan was going forward. Is that something where I should have him like send more info about his config, or have someone else maybe try to replicate it on their system to see if they can at least replicate it? I don't know. I couldn't run into his error on my machine, or their error.
Yeah. So in that case, you would just respond and ask them for more information about what their like customized build output is.
Okay.
And yeah, probably add needs information.
Okay, cool. I will comment on this thread and try to figure that out with them.
Okay. And because this needs information, I'm actually going to remove this from 1.2, move it into the backlog. I also haven't seen anybody else complain about this, and I've also seen a lot of people using a separate service count. So this might just be a one-off.
Okay,
don't know.
let me at least see if I can confirm that it is a one-off before closing it or anything.
Yep.
Just a logistical question. If it turns out this is a bug, now that it's in the backlog, like, is there any mechanism for us to pull it back into a version?
Sorry, say that one more time.
Basically, like if Ish does the triaging and we determine like, oh yeah, there is another bug, but another edge case around this, what's the mechanism for us to pull this back into a version? Is it basically up to Ish to raise this? Because now that's in the backlog, we don't know. When's the next time we'll look at the backlog?
Yeah, I mean, it's at that point, it's up to either the issue author or Ish to put it into a milestone. And basically you just add it to the agenda here.
Just remove the milestone and it'll get triaged again.
Yeah, or that.
Yeah, I'll make sure I follow up on whether it needs to be added based on if I can figure out if it's like a one-off flake or not.
Sure. I think Joe's just wondering about like process
Okay.
for
Yeah,
stuff
I
that
just want to make sure we don't end up determining that it's a bug, but then because it's in the backlog, never prioritize working on fixing it.
Yeah. One other thing we can do during these grooming sessions is not only look for labels with priority important soon, but also bugs. And see if we can get those two with the next release. I would like to rerun my own Travis jobs, right? So it turns out that this isn't as easy as I thought it would be for our current permission setup. So I don't think this is going to be done in this release. I don't think we said that this is going to be a blocker of any sort. This is just something that we would have really liked to have happened by now. I guess in the meantime, Jonathan, if you want permissions for kicking Travis jobs, then we can give those to you specifically. It's not great because other people obviously don't have them, and this is supposed to be for everybody who's a reviewer at least, but it's the least that we can do.
This is one question. If the person has the reviewer permissions now, it's possible to do that?
No, it's not.
So why why is it not possible with GitHub Actions?
I didn't say it wasn't possible with GitHub Actions. We just don't have them set up.
I mean, I could try and set them up.
And the
yeah.
bot, like we do, it's possible, but it's all tests you need to get on. Yeah, forget.
Yeah, I was just thinking along the lines of Prow dealing with Travis, but I guess we decided that that's not even a possible thing anyway, from what I looked into, from when I was looking into this. So, okay, if you want to try and set up a GitHub action to allow this kind of thing, then feel free. But Joe, what is this example that you have? Would this let you, like, as just somebody who has reviewer access, give them permissions automatically?
Oh man, what is that? Would you mind clicking on that link? I can't even remember why I put that in there. I think that's just like a normal CI job where I've kind of re-implemented what our tests are, but in GitHub Actions, so I think there's like a couple of routes we can go here. One is we can use just native Prow and set things up with OpenShift CI, similar to what we've done with Operator Lib. The only caveat there is that there's like a difference in how you set up the cluster, because the kind cluster, because in Prow, you're running in a container and you don't have access to a Docker socket. So you've got to like configure Prow to start your cluster as a separate job. And then you can have your E2E tests run in a separate container that can connect to that other container. It's like a little bit of a different setup, but I think that's all doable. I think we could potentially go look at, I would be surprised if there aren't other Kubernetes projects that use the Kubernetes test infrastructure and do a kind, like set up a kind cluster and run it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some prior art there. Another option would be like, no, we're not going to do Prow. There's too many different reasons not to. I think a lot of us have been interested in switching to GitHub Actions, not just for like the one-off, / command style things, but also like everything in CI. And maybe that would give us other mechanisms to allow more contributors to have more access. I'm not sure exactly how that would look. When I looked into it, it seemed like there were some reasons that GitHub Actions like wouldn't quite work the way we wanted, where like you can't have one GitHub action trigger another GitHub action. It's like always got to be triggered by a person. So there was like certain cases where, I think it was like if you use a / command to run a GitHub action, that GitHub action can't then go run your CI because that's a separate GitHub action. So anyway, like there's like 4 or 5 different ways that I think we could go about this, but none of them seem like super straightforward.
Right. I actually wonder if there's a way to, like, for Travis, for every single member of the organization that a repository is in, give them the ability to kick jobs, because then that basically does exactly what we want. We want everybody who's running tests to be a member, or everybody submitting PRs really to be a member to some degree.
Can I jump in here real quick? I just think
Yeah.
maybe we were spending a little too much time on the implementation details here, and we should probably get back to grooming.
You're totally right. Okay, so Jonathan, I'm going to assign you to this. Since
Okay, but it seems to me that there is some further discussion that needs to be begun. It seems like we've identified some
Yeah.
possible solutions, and we need to pick one of those.
Why don't we
Yeah,
schedule a separate one-off meeting?
Okay.
yeah, I'm also going to remove this from this milestone. I guess I could leave it in, but because it needs more discussion, I'd rather not have it in this particular milestone. But I'm also going to put, okay, so we already have priority importance soon on here.
Could you put it in, do we have n+1?
Yeah, we do. I'll bump it forward.
Since we're already on the topic, can we do 4080 next? It's not currently in the list, but it could be that we just want to add it to that same meeting.
Which one's 4080?
We need to migrate from travisci.org to travisci.com.
Are those functionally different, or is it what?
They are mostly the same. There's a couple of little differences. I don't know much more than that, but I do know that if we don't switch, our CI will break at the end of the year. And since the next release will be going out in like 3 weeks, or was it 2 weeks? We probably want to get it done this time so that we have time to address any problems if they come up.
So Austin, are you suggesting you want this in the 1.2 milestone?
I think we ought to aim for 1.2.
I remember, I feel like we were looking into this and we thought that, like, I don't know, Austin, if you've looked at this like today or yesterday, but when we looked at this like a month or two ago, it seemed like the only thing we needed to do was just enable our repo in the operator framework org to allow travisci.com access.
I think that's the main thing. We may have to do something a little bit different. I glanced at the migration docs, and there's one feature that we use that might be, we might need something to do with protected branches to be changed, but
Okay.
That's about it.
And I think, if I'm not wrong, we can enable travisci.com and still have travisci.org make the travisci.com CI runs optional, see how they work, and basically get them. Do you think it's possible for us to have both travisci.org and travisci.com enabled and passing at the same time, or are they like mutually exclusive?
No idea. This is sort of a drive-by for me today.
Got it.
I have one question. Just to be sure, would you be having someone know if it would be the same work or the same effort to like move all jobs to GitHub Actions?
That would be much more work than this. This should be pretty quick, hopefully.
Okay. I think we're good on this, unless anybody else disagrees with labels and milestones.
No?
All right, do we have any volunteers for this? Okay, Camilla, I'm assigning this to you.
Thank you.
Okay, add scorecard cuddle test to scaffolding. This is assigned to Ken. I am not sure if this is actually going to get in. I don't think Ken's on the call either. So I'm just going to leave this in, and in fact, I'm going to assign all of these to Ken.
Can you put a thing on that so it like comes up in the triage meeting?
What's that?
Is there a label you can put on this so it comes up on the triage meeting so we can talk about it? Hopefully Ken will be there.
If we just remove the milestone, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Or we can put needs discussion. And
does that make it
Are
show?
you saying I should remove the milestones for the 2 unassigned ones?
Well, no, even the one that Ken is nominally assigned to, like if no, no progress has been, we don't know what's going on with that. I just want to bring it up in a meeting. Hopefully Ken will be at, so we can be like, where are we with this? What's going on?
What we could do is like in the bug triage meeting, it's one idea. At the end, we discuss all issues with the need to discuss label.
The idea would be that we have an agenda that like anybody can post issues they want to discuss first, and then we go through our normal issue query.
So here's the thing. I don't want to get into the habit of just removing milestones because we're not sure of somebody's progress on something. Like if they're assigned, then they were probably assigned through verbal agreement or from, like they know that they're assigned, hopefully. So what I think we should do here is just ping Ken and be like, hey, can you update this with anything that you've done recently? Or do you think this is still good for the 1.2 milestone?
I think that is the better idea, the best idea.
But I totally agree with that. I also think like there needs to be some way for us to highlight and talk about certain already triaged issues at our triage meetings, I think.
Yeah, I think removing the milestones is the right way to do that. But since we assigned this milestone, I think it's appropriate to ping Ken here and leave the milestone on it.
I guess what I'm saying is like, I think the only reason we're saying to remove the milestone is because that's what our query is set up like. I think if like we changed our query, then we probably wouldn't say, oh yeah, the right way to have a discussion is to remove the milestone, because those two things seem disjoint. So I guess what I'm saying is either we need to have a different mechanism via labels or something that makes us talk about it again, or we need to have like a process as part of our meeting that allows us to just arbitrarily talk about any issue based on something that we put in the triage meeting agenda or something like that.
Yeah, I'm down to add a re-triage or needs triage label.
Yeah, like we can definitely add that. In this particular scenario though, so we've re-triaged it, or sorry, we have triaged it, we put it in this milestone. Now we're having this meeting and going through it again. So what is the goal of adding the re-triage label to this? Like we want to look at it in triage again, but what we really want to do is just ask Ken what is his status on this.
That's a good point, because if Ken was here, we wouldn't be talking about putting it back in the triage meeting.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd rather not, like, we can create the re-triage label for sure, but let's just ping him in this.
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks, Eric.
That's fine.
Voice of reason.
And I'm also going to ping him on these other two. I won't assign him just yet. And maybe, maybe because we haven't even done this one yet, we should use this as like a pilot issue. And then after this is done for Golang, then we can do Ansible and Helm. So I'll just bump those to 1.3. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
I'm a little nervous about that, only because I think it'll make it difficult for us to remember, like, oh yeah, if you're using a Go operator, you'll get scaffolding, but not if you're using Helm or Ansible. So I would probably vote that we deliver all three at the same time. Not necessarily, not necessarily the same PR, but probably in the same release. So if we don't think we're gonna, this is my opinion, feel free to disagree, but in my opinion, like if we land Golang, then we would probably want to make the Helm and Ansible ones blockers. Or we can say none of them are blockers, and if we don't get all, if we don't think we'll get all three, then we'll just bump them to the next release without merging any of them.
Right. Yeah, that's reasonable.
I think if we want to take that approach, it would be better to just have one pull request, because I don't think we want to make all three of them a release blocker, but only if the other ones merge. I think that would be difficult to set up.
Manage, yeah.
So we could just close Ansible and Helm and then add them to the Go.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing that. Okay. Yeah, why don't we do that? And I'll just make a comment saying that these should all be done together.
It's going to be harder when we split these repos out, but not a concern for now.
Yeah, but the releases will be separate, so it'll be fine.
They will, but it'll be harder, like an SDK, to make sure that there's like a, feature parity between the three. And maybe we won't care about that at that point, but like for this kind of thing, it seems like you would still kind of want that. Anyway, that's an aside. Maybe at that point, it's a phase 2 plugin that's implemented on the SDK side anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Sorry, we just did that. Throws nasty error if running in the wrong directory, right? So this is related to run package manifests. The error could be a lot less verbose. Jesus, was this ever fixed, or is this still an outstanding issue?
Let's assign it to me and I'll check it. And if it's fixed, I'll close. If not, I'll try to fix it.
I guess just needs information.
Yeah, I'll ask myself, see if I find it.
Cool. Migrate all Ansible tests in shell to Go format. Camilla, what's the status of this? Do you know?
Migrate all Ansible tests in shell. Let's see. Okay, 50% is done. So I'm still working on.
You are still working on this?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a PR to migrate the test main cache operator, the mock that is there. Fabian approved that. I'm waiting for the second review. I believe that is that. Could you assign to me this one?
Yeah.
Then I can put your information. And she has another one specific, so maybe I can clean up. Keep it just one issue. If what is missing.
Okay, awesome. You allow for Go projects, you allow generating CRDs v1 version. Yep. So this is related to an upstream issue. And this has to do with basically adding patches that are the v1 CRD API version, so that you can also modify your makefile with new CRD options. So I'm working on this upstream, so I should probably assign this to myself. I'm hoping that this will be in to the v3 plugin upstream this week. The problem is that the v3 plugin is not even in the SDK, and it's obviously not the default, therefore. So I think after this, like a follow-up is to bump KubeBuilder once that upstream PR is merged, and that will allow people to at least use the v3 alpha plugin.
Is that the only change that we need to make in the SDK? Because I thought that we established the precedent that if it's a upstream issue and all we need to do is bump, that we would just close it because it doesn't need to be
No.
tracked in our
So
issues.
that's just for Go. We also, but I guess I was a little bit confused. The language on here is just Go, but this also affects Ansible and Helm because we scaffold bases for those as well.
For Ansible and Helm, they are using V1, I believe.
Are they
Or
already?
they have the CRG version. I think they have the CRG version option. So yes, probably after the side, the upstream implementation probably has things to do in SDK. So I agree.
Well, if they're already using V1 by default, then there is nothing else we have to do besides bump KubeBuilder version. Oh, sorry. The other thing that we do need to do is import and add the v3 plugin to the SDK's CLI.
Yeah.
So there is one thing that we have to do.
But would that not be like a separate issue? Like
No, I think that's
encompass all
directly
of
related
these?
to this.
Okay, cool.
If we find other things that we want from the v3 plugin, then like, yes.
And
We
you probably will
should
need to do
create a separate
V3
issue.
alpha for Ansible and Helm as well, and you push the chains, patch the chains, the fixes and the improvements that it has now. So yeah,
So
I think it has things to do.
okay. Port the tests in test Ansible for the new layout. Austin, you're assigned to this one, and there's an open PR by Camilla.
Yeah, can we switch the assignee to Camilla? And I think we do leave it in 1.2. And Camilla, I promise I will review this PR.
It's fine, don't worry. And really thank you. I will recheck the issues that we have related to me. We can close if you want and synchronize all. Just
All right. Generate bundles, support all resources OLM can manage. This is a pretty big thing to tackle. I haven't done any work on this. So I have a feeling that this won't be in this release, but if anybody else would like to work on this, then they can feel free. And in fact, I'm going to unassign myself from this.
help you wanted, maybe.
Yeah, we could probably put that on this.
If we don't have anyone assigned to it, aren't we supposed to bump it to the next release?
Yep. I was more asking like if anybody in this meeting wants to work on it. I have a feeling that that will be a no, but
I don't know how much I got already, but this seems
So,
related
because
to the
there's
stuff
nobody-
I've done.
What's that?
I said I don't know how much I have already, but this seems related to the bundle stuff I've done in the past. So
Yeah, it's kind of related. So you want to be assigned this
sure.
for the
Seems like this
1.2 timeframe? Are you confident you'll get this done in the next 2 weeks?
No. So then
Okay.
not for 1.2.
Are you
told that
cautiously
it's big,
optimistic
yes.
that it'll get done in the next 2 weeks? Because I think that's
Mm.
okay too.
No. If that's the timeline, then no, I have a laundry list of other things to get done.
Okay. That settles that. Add unit test for Operator SDK command layer. So how much more of
What's
this
left?
needs to be done? Yeah.
So we're still kind of at where we were last time. I'm still waiting for people to review my pull request, and nobody's reviewed my pull request. I don't think anybody's even reviewed it since last
Sorry.
time 3 weeks ago.
Just the
Yeah.
3740, the open one?
Yeah, it should be the same one that's been open. I think it's been open for literally months now.
So this is a good moment to plug that there's a new user group in the Kubernetes Slack. So in Kubernetes operators or Operator SDK dev, you can @ Operator SDK maintainers, and this is a great use case for that.
Could you do 3246?
Huh? Was that Canal?
I was just checking the number to see it is issued 3246. I see. Thank you.
So is 3747 the only thing that's left to do for this?
No. So 3747 is refactoring a single part of the generator into an interface, and then changing the unit tests in the command layer to use the new interface. My intention is that that pull request is supposed to drive out what the interfaces for generators, what we want them to look like. And then once that pull request is approved and merged, I was going to be able to go and refactor all the other generators in the next pull request to be the same style, was what I was hoping to do.
Okay. So this is a lot of stuff in that case. I almost want to break out the refactoring bits into their own issues so that we can tackle them more easily.
Sure.
Maybe we could just start with one, like refactor generators into interfaces.
Okay, so what would you like to encapsulate in just this issue then?
Well, adding unit tests. So once you've refactored the generators, then it'll be more easy to unit test, and that will fall under this issue. But for now, we can have that refactor issue in the 1.2 milestone and move this to 1.3.
Okay, I can do
Okay
that.
with that? Okay. Yeah, just link. I'll actually unlink this.
So just to confirm, I'm gonna make a new issue that's say refactor the generators. I'm gonna put that in 1.2, and I'm gonna assign it to myself.
Yes.
Got it.
Thank you. Custom resource definition is invalid at Kubernetes 1.18. I was under the impression that this was fixed. So this is fixed in controller tools. And I think that the version this got fixed in is no. So the V2 plugins controller tools version does not have this fix. I think that's still on 3.0. So this is like a well-known upstream issue, and perhaps I either want to close this and be like, this is upstream, because all that really needs to happen is a dependency bump once this does get fixed in KubeBuilder, or make this a release blocker. I guess those two things aren't mutually exclusive, but this has been going on for a long time and is really annoying. As you can see, lots of people have opened pull requests and issues referencing this in other repos.
Is this something
I don't know,
that people could, like, there's a workaround where you just, this is just like scaffolding, right? So like people that run into this could just change their makefile to use the newer version of controller tools.
Yep.
So, I mean, one suggestion would be we can close this and say, you know, this will be resolved in Operator SDK scaffolding as of, you know, version KubeBuilder X. In the meantime, workaround is to update your makefile to use controller tools version Y or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, let me deal with that after this. Use Operator SDK run --OLM to do operator upgrades. This is definitely not getting done in this release. Who's working on this? Was this Jesus or Rashmi?
Is this run bundle upgrade?
Yeah.
Neither yet. It'll be one of us though.
Okay.
And it's not 1.2, as far as I know.
I'm going to assign this to Rashmi and move this to 1.3. And the last one, official Docker image for CLI, which I think was closed.
Oh yeah, you can assign me, and I guess put it on the 1.1 milestone and close it.
I like those.
Yeah, it's always fun.
I love getting credit for something I already did.
Okay, that is everything. Everything's assigned. Good stuff. Okay, so we have some few minutes left. Let's take a look at the priority import student stuff. There's only one here, which is health check for Go and Helm, because Ansible already has it, I believe. I have a feeling that this isn't something we want to move into 1.2.
Also, I think he has a health check to be implemented, has an issue in the KubeBuilder as well. And now Ansible has one implementation, but I believe that Helm has not. So maybe should not we check in the upstream these health checks and see if we can make all operators work so equals, you know, when we bump, get to the change.
So I'm not really sure. I did implement the liveness probe that is finished. This does not include a readiness probe, but that had some weird behavior with leader election. So
Right.
I don't know. This might need to get closed. I really have no idea what we should do with this.
Okay, so I just say leave it in the backlog. We could move it into a future milestone, but I don't think that there's any like near-term plan to deal with this.
Yeah, could you unassign me?
Even though, huh?
Unassign me though.
Yeah. And I'm going to put help wanted on this. Oops. Okay. Now, because we have a little bit of time left, I also want to look at bugs that we have because we just talked about doing that at the beginning of this.
Wow, we've only got 6 bugs.
6 bugs that we know about. But yeah, 6 in the in issues. What's that?
Do we want to try and set up the meeting about talking about the thing we wanted to set up a meeting to talk about?
It's on the tip of my tongue. I completely forget.
CI.
CI, yeah, the we ran Travis job stuff.
Do you want to do that?
Sure, I can do it. I don't. Who wants to be involved in that process?
Me.
Sorry, who is me?
Sorry, Eric.
Okay.
Anybody else? Just raise your hand right now and say your name.
Yeah, Jonathan, can you include Joe? I don't know for sure if I'll be able to make it, but send me an invite at least.
Sorry, again, that's Joe?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm raising my hand. Jesus.
That's
Jesus.
Okay, is that everybody? Cool. I'm going to try and set it up sometime this week. Is that okay?
Austin also raised his hand. Is that a Zoom feature that you can literally?
Yeah, I was just trying it. I don't really care.
That's funny.
Wait, what is it?
Okay, add Austin too.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so we just moved this to backlog.
Jonathan, hold on. You said this week is probably bad. I've got all sorts of meetings this week. And
Okay,
I'm off Friday.
Next week.
Next week, I'm pretty open.
Next Monday?
That should be fine. Next Monday is the...
How about next Monday immediately after the Monday meeting?
That should be good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Okay, so we have 3 that need to be addressed. So all scaffold projects are using deprecated RBAC. This is upstream, right? Well, actually, sorry, it's not upstream only. This is upstream for Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I submitted an upstream PR. There's discussion there about whether we want to backport this fix to V2 plugin. I advocate for yes, because the V2 plugin already has a bunch of RBAC V1 resources, and this one inexplicably is V1 beta 1 for some reason. So I figure it's more of an oversight rather than some reason. And then we need to, if that fix comes in, we want to make this same fix for Helm and Ansible, I think.
Right.
The reason I found this is because in Cube 119, kubectl now like tells you when you're using deprecated APIs. So I was using Cube 119 and I got some deprecation warnings about this. So luckily that was the only deprecation warning I got.
So when was V1 beta 1 deprecated and when was V1 added?
V1 beta 1 was deprecated in 117, according to the warning I got. I don't know when V1 was added.
Okay. So I don't think, like, is this a breaking change? Because they're the exact same thing. You're just changing V1 beta 1 for V1. You don't have to change anything else.
Correct. And a bunch of other resources that get scaffolded use V1. So
yeah,
we're basically just going to use something that already gets scaffolded We're just being consistent.
I think I agree with John that I think in this case it's not a break change because the biggest part of it is V1, just a few scaffolds.
Okay.
And probably it was done
So-
before the plugin implementation, the V1.
So I say we try and do this in 1.2. I think we should.
Yeah, let's go for it. I think we depend on the upstream getting merged and backported to the V2 plugin and then us pulling that in. But we can pull that in the same PR that we fixed the Helm Ansible one. So theoretically, it's just one PR to the SDK repo as long as upstream merges.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. Because you're already working on this, Joe, can I assign you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Thank you. Great. Also, we're past 12, so if anybody has to drop, then feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to get through these last two. Ansible operator permissions problems again. I don't know if this is still happening. I remember this being like an OCP specific issue back in the day. Anybody have any updates, ideas, thoughts on this?
I just read over this and I have no memory of getting assigned.
Okay. Cool.
I may have just done that as I was triaging something, so that's my bad. If it was me, I don't know if it was me.
No, I probably just volunteered and forgot.
This is still happening on 1.0, apparently. So
we may be able to just close, if it's the same issue that it has been, we may be able to just close this and say this was resolved in, what's the underlying thing that causes this problem? I always forget the name of it.
oh yeah, users in OpenShift are
Cryo.
assigned. Yeah.
Cryo had a bug a long time ago that's been resolved for a while.
Oh, yeah.
So this has been resolved in more recent versions of OpenShift.
Yeah.
And this is not related to the SDK specifically.
I mean, it's indirectly related insofar as we depend on having that version of, if you're using Cryo, you need at least this X version of Cryo.
Do we know what that version is?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Why don't we just close and comment that this has been fixed in, if you're using Cryo, a recent version of Cryo, and if somebody reopens it, then we can investigate more.
I think the way that we need to word this is like, this is a bug in, like this is caused by a bug in Cryo, right? This is not an SDK bug.
Cool. And last one. Deleting a Helm-based operator CR doesn't guarantee all of its associated resources are deleted. So this is what percolating options to Helm.
Well, this is like that's not a thing that exists, that thing that I put in my comment that I know of.
Ah,
Can we just leave this as is?
yep.
We might want to, yeah, let's leave that as is for now.
Sure. That's totally fine.
Do we want help wanted?
Well, I was going to say, like, I mean, that's been open for a while and I clearly haven't done anything with it. So like, can yeah, I would say let's put help wanted, and maybe we could unassign me.
You're not
if
even
someone else
assigned.
wants to pick it up. Okay, yeah, help wanted would be good then.
Cool.
I don't remember this task.
Yeah, this is pretty old. All right, that is awesome. We've gotten through everything, and this next release is looking really spiffy. So good work, everybody.
Oh, we do need somebody to do the 1.2 release.
I'm signed up for that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I
That's
guess it's
good
pretty
because
fitting.
we made
Since,
it. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
since Eric is changing everything about the release, it's only fair that he has to do it.
Yes.
I promise it's going to go incredibly smoothly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, thanks
It'll
everybody
be
for
smoother
coming.
than mine.
Possible, but I'd be interested in just following along to learn what's involved exactly in the release process, because I don't know.
Sure. And so I am changing a bunch of stuff for this next release. So this is going to be a trial for me as well. I will loop you in on it, and we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Maybe I'll even live stream it. Who knows? Probably a bad idea.
Watching a release on Twitch sounds like the worst way to spend your Saturday.
Seriously. Hey, I'm not doing this on a Saturday. It's not
Twitch
happening.
plays debugging release scripts.
All right. Does anybody have anything else before I stop? All right. I'll take that as a no. Thank you all very much for coming, and I'll see you on Monday.
Thank
See
you.
you later.
Peace.